I just got a new Dutch oven, so we're making soup of the tomato variety. It's a delicious, creamy, actually, technically I think it's a bisque, not a soup. But let's not be splitting hairs here. It's a super easy recipe. All right, let's go. Start by heating a Dutch oven or a soup pot over medium heat. Once preheated, add 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil or vegetable oil, 1 yellow onion diced, and 2 stalks of celery diced. Sauté those just until the onions start to sweat, and then add some seasonings. 2 teaspoons of cayenne pepper, 4 to 5 leaves of fresh basil finely chopped, 2 teaspoons of fresh oregano finely chopped, 1 teaspoon of fresh parsley finely chopped, a pinch of salt, and freshly ground pepper. If you aren't able to find fresh herbs in your area, you can use the dried versions of these herbs, but the fresh herbs really do make a significant difference in the flavor of the finished soup and are well worth the effort. Stir to coat the celery and onion in the seasoning mixture and continue to sauté until the onion is translucent. If it starts to brown, that's a good indicator that the heat is too high and it needs to be reduced. Next, add 4 cups of chicken or vegetable broth and a 28-ounce can of San Marzano tomatoes. You can also use fresh tomatoes by roasting them in the oven to soften them and then crushing them yourself, which would be a great thing that I'm looking forward to in the summer when the tomato vines are ripe. We are going to blend this soup once it's finished cooking, so if you want to use fresh tomato, you wouldn't really have to worry about any larger chunks because it'll be blended up at the end anyway. With the broth and tomato added, let the soup simmer for 30 minutes uncovered before we blend. Now this is where an immersion blender comes in handy, but if you don't have one, or if you're like me and stubbornly refuse to buy one, you can use a traditional blender. I turn the heat on the pot very low or completely off, and then ladle some soup into the blender. Only half of the soup will fit at a time, so this will need to be done in 2 batches. And don't forget to hold the lid on when you blend. Happens to everyone at some point, I guess. At least it's easy to clean up. With the first batch blended, you'll need somewhere to put the soup in the blender, but you can't put it back in the pot because the rest of the soup that still needs to be blended is in there. So what I prefer to do is get out whatever container I'm going to be storing the soup in anyway, and put the soup from the blender into the container, and then put the soup that's still in the pot into the blender so I can blend it up. Then once both batches are blended up, add them back to the pot and bring the heat back up to medium. Stir in 1 cup of heavy cream and season to taste with salt. We added salt earlier, but at this point, taste the soup and see if it needs more salt. More often than not, mine will. Now it's time for, I suppose what you could call my secret ingredient, chili paste. I like to add this for a little bit of spicy zing in the soup. Along with the cayenne pepper, it gives it a good little kick. I usually pour in about 1 or 2 tablespoons, but this is a good opportunity to taste and stir and adjust. At this point in making the soup, I usually add the chili paste and then stir it up, taste it, see if it needs some more, and then I'm also tasting for salt and pepper at the same time and adding as needed. Stir, taste, and adjust. Once it's seasoned to your liking and heated all the way through, it's ready to be slurped up alongside a warm, crusty bread or a melty grilled cheese. Honestly, I know I like this soup because I've made it before and it's freaking delicious, but let's try. Oh, it's hot. Careful not to burn your tongue. The soup is just so comforting. Like if I was sick, this soup. Oh yeah. Honestly, My tomato soup usually becomes dip for my bread rather than soup. Because I like the bread so much. Or like a grilled cheese sandwich. But the focaccia bread is so good. If you like this video or you learned something, give it a like. If you'd like to learn more, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.